When I looked at all my subscriptions, I couldn't believe how many I was paying for and not using. Streaming services, apps, memberships, it adds up. That's why I use and recommend Rocket Money. It's a personal finance app that finds and cancels unwanted subscriptions, tracks your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. The best part? You can cancel subscriptions right inside the app with just a few taps. No awkward phone calls or hunting for passwords. With Rocket Money, all your accounts are in one dashboard. Your checking, savings, loans, and investments are all there, so you can see your entire financial picture at a glance. It organizes every transaction automatically, sets budgets, sends real-time alerts for big charges, and gives you easy-to-read reports. I keep a close eye on all my finances, and Rocket Money gives me an even smarter view. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/Kim. That's rocketmoney.com/Kim. Go now. rocketmoney.com/Kim. A man got a hospital bill for $195,000. 4 hours of emergency care. His sister-in-law was ready to just pay it. He said, wait. So he took the itemized bill, pasted it into an AI chatbot, and asked it to check for errors. Within minutes, the AI found duplicate charges, services that never happened, and supply costs marked up 2,300% above Medicare rates. He wrote a letter citing every single violation. The hospital dropped the bill to $33,000. That's an 83% reduction. And get this, up to 80% of all medical bills contain errors, and fewer than 1% of us ever challenge them. You can do this right now. Request an itemized bill, paste it into ChatGPT or Claude, and ask it to flag errors. 5 minutes, no medical degree required. Get my free newsletter at getkim.com. Next up, a call for my weekend show, The Kim Komando Show. Enjoy! The other day, I had a chance to sit down with Craig Dubinsky, the CEO of Happy Products. He's built some of the biggest brands in personal care. So when a guy like that tells me a piece of software saved his company, I listen. Here's what he told me.
So you mentioned that NetSuite saved your bacon. What happened there?
Well, our last business, Hello, it's an oral care company. Hello grew and became the fastest growing oral care brand in North America. We were growing so fast that we literally broke another well-known financial platform software. So we made the switch to NetSuite and we migrated our entire business off of one platform onto NetSuite, which was very scary. And we thought this is going to be this impossible task. And we did it over a weekend and it was flawless and seamless and we never looked back. It's the most capable platform we've seen. It's great.
If your revenues are at least 7 figures, get NetSuite's free business guide, Demystifying AI, right now at netsuite.com/Kim. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim.
Your favorite local grocery stores like Kroger, Ralph's, Fred Meyer, and more are now delivering on Uber Eats. Get 40% off your order of fresh, quality ingredients. Whether you just got home to an empty fridge or suddenly got a craving to whip up something new, you can get everything you need delivered in as little as 25 minutes. Get 40% off your order with code Kroger2026. Plus, members get $0 delivery fees. Order now on Uber Eats. Orders of $30 or more save up to $25. Ends 4/30/26. See app for details.
Let's see. Tim in beautiful Canada. Hello there, Tim.
Hello.
So I understand that you did an AI experiment. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, that's right.
So
several, but yeah.
Several. So tell us what you did, because it involved what you do. You made like 40 albums in a month and 125 ebooks and.
Right. So that's the most recent one is the albums. I used a program called Suno, which is an AI audio generator where you type in what you want. You describe in a prompt the type of music you want, and you can enter lyrics or style information, and then you wait a few seconds and it generates some alternatives. So I use that, and I just tried to see how far I could push the technology and what I could kind of create as a single artist within a short defined span of time. And what I was able to come up with was 40 full-length albums in a month.
Were they good?
And I think that some of them are highly listenable. Of course, a lot of it is instrumental music. So when you listen to it, you don't immediately know, oh, this is AI, because there's not a human voice in all of them. That's kind of a giveaway. And some of it is interesting. I've come back to it months later and listened through on random with doing work and other stuff, and I've been like, oh, this is cool. Like, almost when I hear it, I'm like, who made this, And it's the same thing that I kind of tried to do with books before that. I spent a year kind of working on 125 ebooks that they take place in kind of like a parallel universe where AIs have basically taken over human society, which is not such a stretch.
No.
And for each book, they kind of like interlink to the other books. So like if you start reading one book and you find a topic that you find interesting, you can kind of click through and then go check out that other book and then kind of hop around throughout the narrative universe like a sort of a choose-your-own-adventure kind of story.
So what prompted, no pun intended, you to do all this?
That was a good joke.
Thank you.
Well, so I've just been, I've had kind of two strands in my life. One is working as an artist and a musician and an author for a really long time on my own, and the other is working in technology for platforms and doing things like content moderation and working in policy and working in kind of the side of technology where things can go wrong, like when people abuse or misuse platforms to do things that they shouldn't do. So I'm always kind of on the lookout for what are the new technologies and what can be done with them, both on the good side as an artist, but then also on the bad side, like how do people misuse this, and what are the pitfalls, and what are the strengths and weaknesses of all these new things. So I've always kind of taken my art, and anytime interesting new technology comes out, I just jump on it and I start kind of plugging in my world, my universe, and just see what comes out the other side. And a lot of times I find, very good and interesting results, and then I find things that are not so good. And I try to talk about those two equally because they're mixed. We can't just separate one from the other. We can't have the good and not have the bad too. They come together.
So you have 40 albums, 120 books. What are you doing with them? Are you trying to make money with them?
I mean, I've put them up, on streaming platforms for the albums, and people can listen to them, on YouTube or whatever. You can listen for free. There's no payment required. For the books, I sell those through a website called Gumroad. That it just lets me control everything kind of in my own little storefront easily. I don't put them on Amazon because I don't want to get mixed up in the Amazon world. And people who know me, who know my work, they can come and check them out. And I'm not like competing with, other authors on Amazon or whatever.
How much money have you made at it?
I've made, I think, a little over $3,000 in the past few years with it. It's not a huge amount, but when you look at just as, the initial outlay of time and subscription fees for
it's not paying for itself.
AI
at that
services,
point.
yeah. And then, over time, once I'm done, they keep earning. Like every time I appear on something or there's an article about my work, I sell a few more, and so over time they accrue in the background. But I'm not focused on them. I'm not really on social media. I'm not out there hawking my wares all the time. But that's what most people I think are using AI for now. It's to make like little videos or to make images and put them on social media. And I think it's AI tools kind of, they show us something interesting about social media, and that social media already, even without AI, is kind of inhuman. It's kind of like it requires you to be always on, always putting out sort of like this image of yourself, your life, or how you see the world. And what AI does is it lets people kind of step back and automate that. And I'm not so sure that that's good because I don't like social media for that reason.
Well, and then you've got, I don't know if you heard about this, but Meta filed a patent that after you die, your AI will keep posting for you.
No, I haven't heard of that, but I'm not.
I'm like, excuse me. I mean, is it going to repost something like a private conversation that I had that, I can't stand Andrew Babinski. And then I'm gone. It puts up and goes, Kim said Andrew Babinski.
I can't believe Dead Kim liked that post. That's so embarrassing.
But let me ask you a question now. So you are an artist. Okay. Yeah. So when I look at these tools like Sono or Dolly or whatever it may be, my brain does not work on that platform. It doesn't. I mean, it just, it's just I can't play any musical instrument, can't carry tune, can't sing, can't do anything like that. Does AI help your creativity, Is it real art or does it take away?
No, it absolutely helps. I mean, it's for the kind of scale of world building and creating stories and narratives and kind of all these different artifacts that link to each other. I would never be able to do that kind of work at that scale without AI. Like, that's something that without those tools, that kind of work for me just wouldn't exist. I simply wouldn't have the time to make, for the albums, it's a total of like 820 songs. Like that would take me
that's a lot.
an infinite. It would take me an infinite amount of time to come up with all of that. And some people think that that's bad. Okay, fine, I respect that opinion, but at the same time, if I can push into new territories and make new experiments and test things out in ways that I've never done before and maybe other people haven't done before, I think there's a lot of value in that. And what I've seen as an artist, I've studied a lot of art history, and every time that there are new technologies that come out, there is always a backlash from the established kind of order, the old guard, the academy, even things like impressionist painting, or when photography came out, or when synthesizers came out in music. There was always a backlash from the people who were established and successful in the old medium, and then the new thing came along and they felt threatened because their work became viewed or valued differently. So I think like what's happening now with AI, there's zero difference for me in what I've seen historically over the past 200, 300 years in art history. So I think what always happens with the new technologies is it lets people make new things that just simply couldn't exist before.
Just real quick. With the 40 albums that you've put up, have any of them connected with people? Is there any one album that's gotten a lot of listens that you sat back and looked at the numbers and went, wow, that's surprising?
No, I haven't had any huge commercial success with the music stuff. It's just been an experiment. For me, it's the thing that's interesting for me is that the music artifacts kind of also start to interlink with the narrative books, and there's like references between all of those worlds. So I think for me, it might be that it happens down the road, that someone discovers one of those things and it suddenly clicks for them, and then they start to kind of jump into the different artifacts. I've seen with my books, for example, where, because I'm selling it on a website where I can kind of track a little bit who buys it, or I can at least see if one person is buying more than one because I get an email address. I've had one person come back and buy 40 different books out of 125 volumes.
You. So there's your audience right there.
Yeah, just find a billion of those and you'll be super rich.
But Tim, it's a great experiment.
It's interesting.
And if you have any interest in creating any type of music or ebooks, and use Sono, you can use any of the AI chatbots. And in case you want to look up Tim, his last name is Boucher, Tim Boucher.
And Tim, if you ever decide to turn those 120 books into 120 movies, you already have the soundtracks.
That's
true.
They're
already made.
We're all set. Hey, want to stay in the tech know without wasting your time? Join nearly 1 million folks who get my free newsletter, The Current, where you see the latest in tech in just 5 minutes every single day. You're just going to love it. It has a 5 out of 5 star rating over on Trustpilot. Sign up right now at getkim.com. That's getkim.com.